Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from Clash Miami. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by SFuels, HOKA, Master Spas, deboer wetsuits, Premium Plus Sports, and of course our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Ironman World Champion. 4 times she took a silver at the Ironman World Championships. We're talking the 70.3 World Champion. There's really nothing that Lucy Charles-Barclay has not accomplished. How you doing, Luz?
Hey, Bob. Yeah, really good. Really good to be here in Miami with you. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, and last time we chatted we were sitting here with a Four Seasons cake right out in front of us after you finally, after 4 seconds, finally got that huge win. Getting that win, how is it, have you been surprised by the reaction to it? Because obviously everybody loves you. All the pro women who were watching you win were cheering for you, right? You were racing on a day when it was all women in the field, which was so unique. Did it surprise you the way people have reacted to it?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's just been one of those things that felt like a lifelong journey to get that title. So once I finally did it, it just was amazing, and just felt the reaction from everyone was so positive. Everyone was so happy. We had quite a big reaction in the UK, which is different. We don't always get that for triathlon. So actually to get mainstream media kind of covering it was amazing. And yeah, it just has been a really busy time, but I've been enjoying it so much and relishing every opportunity that I've got from winning that race.
And I think when people were chatting about Lucy might not go and defend her title at Ironman World Championship coming up in Nice, the thought was, oh my God, everybody always defends their title. But it's different now because you're going to 2 different locations. To try to go to Nice, which is a 8,000 feet of climbing, it's an endeavor unto itself. You would have to commit your season to that race.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of what we weighed up, was like, do I want to go all in for Nice and base myself there and really learn the course? And I guess as an athlete, whenever I do something, I want to give 1,000%.
Absolutely.
So I would have had to just fully commit to that race. And it was a really difficult choice, but eventually we landed on actually, I want to challenge myself in a different way, and I want to see how fast I can get. So that was why we landed on actually doing the T100 series and seeing how well I can do over that distance.
It was funny. I was chatting with a number of different athletes, and they talked about what's great about what PTO is doing with the T100 series. It's sort of relaxing to know, here's my schedule. Here's what I'm going to do. And for you, if the goal is obviously defend your title in Kona, to spend a year not running marathons and potentially, because you had stress fractures in the past, to focus on speed to get ready for Kona, because after the Olympics, a lot of fast people are coming in.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So your leg speed is going to make a huge difference, and also just having a year not having to put all those ridiculously long miles in, it's going to be a real positive.
Yeah, I hope so, definitely. I think the exciting thing is to race over that shorter distance, and actually one of the most fun years I had in the sport was back in 2021, where I actually raced some shorter distance. I did some arena games, I did some Super League.
Super League, yes.
And I just had fun with it, so I felt like I just kind of wanted to embrace that again, and I do really love pushing myself to my limits, and I feel like this series will definitely do that. And yeah, just see how much speed I can get in the legs, and then see if then I can take that up to the Ironman distance again for Hawaii, and see if I can go a bit faster again.
Well, and you've raced here.
Yes.
Right? And was it with Jody?
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome. And this is a little different than Daytona because it's a speedway, but also you have road course.
Yeah.
And starting in middle afternoon, it'll be freaking hot. It'll be Kona. You'll have Kona. You have a little bit of Kona on your side as well. Do you like this course?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this course. I think it was back in 2021 I raced here, similar time of year, and yeah, it definitely brings that humidity in. And actually, when we stepped out the hotel this morning, Reese was like, what does it feel like? And I was like, feels a bit like Kona here. Like it's humid.
Does.
Maybe not quite as hot, but we'll definitely be racing in the afternoon, so it will be warm, and it will be actually getting dark when the women race, which brings a bit of fun as well under the lights. Yeah, so it's just a super exciting course.
I remember you racing under the lights in Daytona. Right?
Yes.
Wasn't it was it you and Paula?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
yeah.
that was a fun race because you guys were going back and forth. I mean, at the end of the day, you've been so successful at the longer distance, but at heart, you like racing.
Yeah, I do. I really do love it. I love racing back to back with people, and the kind of position changes and the gaps being smaller, and there's just, it just gives you that little bit more excitement as an athlete. So you have to be a bit more tactical as well, and there's not really much margin for error, so you have to be a bit smarter. And yeah, I just think that challenge really does excite me.
the depth of the fields at these races. I mean, these are like world championship races every time you go to the start line, because it's basically everybody who's the best. And I think during the season, when people don't make it to the Olympics, I think some of those folks will be invited with wild cards, et cetera. Do you like the fact that there's 8, 10, 12, 15 women who can win?
Yeah, definitely. And I was saying that in an interview this morning, actually, that there's not just one athlete that you're thinking they're going to win. It's actually anyone could win on their day. And I think that for fans and for athletes is so exciting. And yeah, it's going to make you, after each race, go home and go, okay, what do I need to work on to get that extra little % out of myself on this, and learn exactly where you need to improve. And yeah, having the top 20 women every single race is just, it just adds a new dynamic to the racing.
So back in the day when you were a swimmer, and really the options were, okay, I'm going to do the open water swim, and I'm going to do the 1500, and there's not another race series. It's like, this is it. I either make the Olympic team or I don't, and you don't make the Olympic team. Now you're in a sport where if you wanted to, you can go race Super League. If you wanted to, you can go say, hey, I want to try to make the Olympic team. If you wanted to, you can go do 70.3, you can do a full, you can do PTO, you can do T100. There's so many great options. It's almost been a little bit like, this is just so much fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's no better time to be a triathlete than now.
Ever, right?
It's amazing. I think the opportunities are there, and there's also, because there's so many opportunities, there's so many people able to view the different types of series and triathlon that's going on, that it's going to grow the sport even more, because we're able to just reach that wider audience of athletes who think, oh, I want to try a triathlon, I want to get into the sport. So yeah, I think you're just going to see the sport boom even more than it has been maybe over the last couple of years.
What I love about what you bring to the table, one, I always look at the person who wins the Ironman World Championship. They're sort of leader of the sport, right? And we're obviously in great hands with you and Sam as sort of the spokespeople for sport. When you look at the future, and because you've been so prominent on social media, you have a lot of fans. And I know that probably means a lot to you, because this is can be a very selfish sport where I'm going to go swim, bike, and run, and me. But there's other people out there who have been inspired by what you're doing and have lost 50 pounds, or have come back from an injury, or have been sick and realized that I can still do this sport. How important is that to you?
Yeah, it's so important, and it just makes it all so much more worthwhile. I think it definitely at times does feel like a selfish pursuit, the amount of training you're doing and saying no to things and having to miss family events and not see your friends. It can be really tough, but then I'll receive a message from someone that says, oh, you've inspired my daughter to get on the bike and she really wants to do her first triathlon, or like you said, someone's had a bad injury but they've seen I've overcome mine so they can too. So just seeing those messages, like, no, it is worthwhile. Like, I am able to give back in some way whilst I'm doing this, and hopefully inspire more people to give sport and triathlon a go.
It's funny, when you finish second place 4 times in a row, each one of those seconds is a little different. First time out, you're like, oh my God, I got second. And then there's others like, oh crap, I could have won it. Then there's the ones where I didn't know I was going to get to the starting line. I had a stress fracture, and I couldn't do St. George, and I'm able to get here. And I got second, right? You look at every one of those seconds means something a little differently.
Yeah, every single race there has been special and meant so much. And whether it be in the race or leading into the race, I've had to overcome something to get that second place. And then it just meant so much more to finally get that win. Like, I think if I'd lined up the first time and just won it, it would have been like, oh, what now? But because I had to go on that journey, it meant so much more. And we have all of our Hawaii bowls up at home, and I look at them and I remember the race and what I went through. And it's just so rewarding to see them all there and see the journey and know what I went through. So yeah, what a journey it's been amazing.
And when I look at the big events in the sport, obviously winning Ironman World Championships, but also Challenge Roth, which people don't talk that much about, but you win Challenge Roth, and that means a ton, because it's a different style of racing, and there's tons of spectators out there, and you're climbing Solar Hill and finishing in a stadium. Talk a little about just the variety of events that you've done.
Yeah, I mean, Challenge Roth is fantastic. Like, it's definitely one of my favorite races in the sport. And even in that race, I actually was second the first time. And I remember being so hungry to go back and win, just because Felix and the family vibe behind it, they're just so amazing. The fans, the crowds. Like, what an iconic race. So it's definitely one I want to go back to at some point in my career. But yeah, I've been really lucky to race across a few different race series, and going to the arena games, I absolutely loved it. It challenged me in a completely new way, and it was fantastic. And even after winning the 70-point free worlds, I went and raced a Super League event, which was in Malibu. And I've always been an athlete that loves to challenge myself in new ways, and to just have this T100 series, I think again it's just going to challenge me in a completely new way and push me to be a better athlete, which is always what I'm looking for.
Not having Kona this year has to be tough. It's not like you're 23, 24 years old. It's like those opportunities sort of can go away. When you think back of so much of your career is tied to Daniela Reef, right? Who now is going into her final season. And I love the way Daniela reacted to your win. I mean, there's a camaraderie among the women. Yeah, you want to kick each other's butt, right? You don't want to give anybody anything. But at that finish line and afterwards, there's a sincere caring about, hey, it's great that Lucy finally got this win.
Yeah, I mean, Daniela is what an athlete. I mean, she's absolutely incredible, and she's definitely molded my career as an athlete. She's been the one I've been looking up to, and she'd always be the one winning in Kona, and I'd be second. So she's just challenged me and pushed me to be a better athlete. So I'm so thankful to her. I don't think I would be where I am now if I didn't have her to push me that bit further. So, but yeah, all the women are so supportive. I mean, Annie Howe, what an amazing athlete. Definitely someone, again, that pushes and challenges me, and there's an amazing camaraderie for sure. I think I've said it before, but triathlon is such a tough sport. You know the work that goes in, so there is so much respect, because just making it to the start line healthy and ready to race can be a challenge on its own. So then at the finish line, I think you just see that camaraderie and respect between the women for sure.
So when you finally win this race, again, it's Annie coming, going by Taylor. You're like, oh, not again. I've seen this story before. I don't need this story again. The pressure of, I've got to take the lead from the first swim stroke. I can't relax for over 8 hours, right? You're going to have to do that. That morning when you wake up and pretty much know that I've got to go off the front all day long. That's the only way, not the only way I can win, but that's the way I win. Did you feel a lot of pressure with that?
Yeah, I mean, at the night before the race, I still remember it now. I could actually feel my heart beating out of my chest all night long. Like, I just felt that anticipation and pressure. And I think because I'd been second 4 times, I was like, come on, is this going to be the year? Like, let's make it the year. I don't want another second place finish. So there definitely is that pressure there. And the way I race, there's always a target on my back. I am leading from the front. And I also knew that it was the strongest field we've ever had in Hawaii. So I was like, if ever there's a year to do it, please let it be this one. And yeah, I think that again made it mean so much more to finally get the win on that day.
From my perspective, I love the men and women racing together. The best to me was 2 years ago in Kona, when it was the men one day, women the other day, men out cheering the women on, women cheering the men on. I understand the island can't handle it. But for you to win when it was just women, right? It was women all day long. The highest finish rate in history, 93%. Every woman got out of the water. Women, I think, do a hell of a better job taking care of themselves on race day. If they need to stop on the bike to get something at an aid station, they'll stop on the bike. Some guy's just going to blow through and forget about it. Winning with it being the first ever all-women's race, did it mean more?
Yeah, 100% it meant more. I think just lining up on the morning, you look around, you could see all the women. There was just this really positive vibe. But I think all of the women felt like this is a historic day. Like, this is Women's Day for the sport. And yeah, we definitely delivered, which I think is incredible, and just showcasing what women can do in this sport, and hopefully, again, inspiring more women to take up this incredible sport.
It's funny, I wrote a little piece for the Carbo Party where we were talking about women in triathlon. And if you think about, when Lynn Lemaire in '79, who I think is the only other woman to lead wire to wire, she was in one point second place overall in that race and ended up finishing 5th. And when you look at other sport, in basketball, women play with a smaller ball, and in tennis, they play 3 sets rather than 5. Ours is not like that. Our sport is, you guys do 2.4, 112, 26.2. It's the same course, it's the same heat, the same cutoff times. I think it makes our sport pretty damn special.
Yeah, I really have to agree. I think triathlon is an amazing sport for, the women. We don't do anything less. We're going to just do just as much as the men and sometimes beat the men as well. So
Exactly.
just showing how hardcore we are. And I think, what a sport for women to be showcasing and having our own day in Hawaii last year.
Do you, at this point, do you look at your career and go, okay, I want to race another 3 years, I want to race another 5 years, I'm going to be an age grouper when I'm done? Is that stuff even there, or you just focus on, this is the season, I'm focused on 2024, and we'll worry about 2025 when we get there?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't see a point in my life where triathlon won't be a big part of it. I love it, and it's definitely molded me into the person that I am. And for now, obviously, I'll take it year by year. And this year, I'm really excited for it. And then I guess at the end, reevaluate and look at the next one. But I'm just having an incredible time doing this. And long may it continue.
You're the best. Somebody, actually, I was remember a couple years ago, you joined us on a Zoom call, and we surprised a woman with her prosthetic leg. I was like, she's still doing triathlon and still
amazing.
loving it. It's cool. We'll have to do another one.
For sure.
Really fun. Lucy Charles-Barclay has been our guest. Thank you for always being so generous with your time. I really
thanks,
appreciate it. And one of these years after Kona, maybe 2025, usually our triathlon in San Diego is a week after Kona, so we might have to have you and Reese after you and Reese come up to San Diego. Again, Breakfast with Bob from Clash Miami. Hold on, everybody. We will be right back.